Okay.
Okay, I think we're recording now. I think I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're recording now. I see it now. Now
You
we're
see it
recording.
recording? What the
Yep.
hell?
All right.
Has that always been there?
Nope. Welcome. Anyway.
Uh,
Anyway, what's going on, people? This is Julian,
this is George.
and this is off the
Trying
ropes. This is
this.
off the this is off the ropes boxing and MMA podcast and YouTube now.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, man. I mean, this is our second episode on Zoom. For YouTube, and just bear with us as we're kind of new to this. But hey man, let's talk boxing. Let's talk boxing, bro.
Yeah,
Uh,
let's
there's
definitely do it.
there's a,
Let's
I
run
mean,
through this.
there's been a lot of things the last 2 weeks, man. Boxing wise, there's I mean, you had Wilder Fury trilogy. We had Navarrette Gonzales versus Gonzales. We had Liam Smith versus Fowler, and we had Mikey Garcia versus Sandor Martin.
Yeah.
That's just the name of a couple of the fights that happened in the last few weekends. Starting off, with the Wilder Fury. I mean, the undercard was legit. Let's just to talk, a little bit about the prelims that happened. Bruce Shushu Carrington, kid, man, you're the future of the sport. I'm giving a big shout out to him right now, and just like I said, just remember the name. Like I always say, man, remember this kid's name. She showed out beautifully. But going to the undercard, hey, we saw Edgar Berlanga go at
Yeah.
it,
He's,
and Julian Williams. He was the fight right before him.
yeah,
Uh,
he unfortunately took a split decision loss.
yeah, to
It's sad to
Vladimir
see.
Huerta, right? Vladimir Huerta.
Ramirez.
Yeah, Ramirez. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he had Huerta on the back of his damn pants. Must be one of those one of the million names that we have. But anyway, he yeah, I mean he came out and Julian Williams, his right hand was brutal in the beginning of the fight. I think a lot of it had to do with heart, that he lost his fight. I mean, where is his heart right now in boxing? Um, I mean, can you tell me, George? I mean, do you know?
I
Because I
mean,
mean,
yeah, I could definitely try to elaborate a little bit. It's tough to really say what is going to happen with Julian, uh, J Rock. Like you said, he started off pretty strong, but he lost a split decision. It was a close fight, but this definitely wasn't the Julian Williams that we're used to seeing.
maybe
Um,
the Rosario fight showed the Julian Williams that we're not used to seeing.
yeah, and before that, obviously he lost to Charlo. He got a upset win over Jared
Jared
Hurd.
Hurd.
So he's capable. He's definitely capable of making a splash. But sometimes when you face these types of competitions, it happens. And Ramirez, and we said it, his name up to date that he's had on his card was Alfredo Angulo. But before that, a couple Argentina tough opponents, but nothing of the same resume of J Rock. You
Oh,
see
not
Rosario on there, you see Charlo, you see Heard, but man, it is what it is, and
not
for
off to the
him, he
drawing
needs to,
board.
yeah, back to the drawing board. He's got to take his time and really assess if this is what he wants to do, and if so, like get some more wins under your belt. Um,
Yes.
but with that being said, we've seen another young fighter in
Bro.
Berlanga.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely was tested. This is what we want to see from a young fighter that's knocked out his first 16 opponents in the first round. You want to definitely see him get tested. He got tested in the last fight. He did
Now, yeah,
come away
now the
with a
last
win.
two fights, he's gone the distance. Got knocked down for the first time in his career.
Yeah.
Like I said, which he knew he messed up, by getting hit. Goes to this showing the experience, to a much greener fighter in Berlanga. He's gone the distance. Coceres has, and like I said, I mean, this is a big learning point for Berlanga himself. The
Yep.
injury to his bicep. He did injure his bicep in the 4th round or 3rd round.
It was third round. Yeah, I think he
Yeah,
tore his bicep.
yeah.
There was a picture of it like bruised up right here in the upper
He's
area of his
supposed to be having
bicep.
surgery actually, I think. So I think he's gonna be out probably a few months. So we might not see him fight probably till July.
Yeah, hey, you
No,
got to heal up, man, and that's
yep.
hey, it happens when you. I hate to use the word like everybody else has been saying. He's exposed. He was not exposed. We can say if he was exposed, if his next 2-3 fights, he's still doing the same things. He's not cutting the ring off. He's not using his jab. He's trying to
Mhm.
overexert himself with a right hand. He's trying to knock people out. He definitely has a knockout power. You don't need to go and
Oh,
try to
for
land
sure.
a power shot every punch. And we've seen this with Oscar Valdez too. Like
Yes, we have.
you've seen his style change where he would every single shot was 100 miles an hour, and now you see him setting up shots, top, bottom. He's going, 5%, 20%, 50%, and landing the big shots when you need to land them. And that's exactly what Berlanga should do is, take a page from some of these younger guys that had a test in their career early. And hey,
Oh,
man,
for
if
sure.
if he continues to fight like this, then it's unfortunate. You
He will
know,
not make it in the 168
he
division.
yeah, he will not, because that division from even 160 to 175, there's killers in there. There's killers in
And
that division.
I could see even like Caleb Smith beating him right
Yeah,
now,
hey, yeah,
big time,
especially
badly.
big time. Yeah, that's that experience of Smith.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, we gotta give it up to the undercard, to the Tyson Fury, Wilder trilogy. It's all heavyweight pretty much, other than those two preliminaries that happened on ESPN Plus and Fox Sports.
Hmm.
Gotta give it to Jared Anderson, man. Like we've been saying, learn the name, Big Baby. He knocked out a Vladimir Tereshkin, of course, in the 2nd round. Just manhandled the kid. Um, the future of the heavyweight division is beautiful. I
It
mean,
definitely is.
this ties into the fight that happened after that. Uh,
Hellenius and
Hellenius
Kanaki.
versus Kanaki. Hellenius with the big time win. He left off where he pretty much left off at. If
Hey,
that
yeah,
makes
you're
any
right.
sense.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, you're right. He started where he left off at in the first fight, where he was just dominant. He landed his shots, man. And and we mentioned this, or we talked about it off camera. And now that I think about it, like I think Kanaki was just one of those guys that just he may have had so many wars in sparring. He's got like that no holds bar type of style where he you land one, he's got to land his two, or you land two, he's got to land four, and that'll just wear and tear. And like Teddy Atlas said this best, he's like, when a fighter has a chin, that chin is like a rock. You keep chipping it and chipping it and chipping and chipping, and eventually
It'll
you keep
break.
chipping at this rock. You start to break and crack, and I think that's what happened with Kanaki in the first fight, where you see him, it took a toll on him, and he
Yes,
was
it did.
stopped, man. It was bad. And we mentioned it too. We would like to see Jared Anderson,
And
you know,
Hellenius,
and
he
Hellenius. And that would be a damn good win if Jared Anderson can
Jared
get a
Anderson.
win over Hellenius, because Hellenius is riding high right now. He's
Yes, he
definitely
is.
riding high.
I mean, Jared Anderson's been riding high too, but and like I said, Top Rank took a big risk putting him in against Tereshkin.
Yeah.
A more experienced fighter, I guess you could say. But he embarrassed the guy. Showed him who's the boss in the division right now. Well, from his point of view,
Yeah.
Big Baby. Like I said, I mean, him and Hellenius would make sense for a fight to happen, but like I said, there's just so many names in the heavyweight division right now. I mean, Hellenius is only one of them to
You
talk
have
about.
Yeah, and then you have
Jogba. You have
Sanchez. Yeah, you have
Sanchez.
Sanchez.
You
Yeah,
have
man,
Andy.
Sanchez is in there. Yeah, he's
Yeah, yeah,
definitely in there.
yeah. You have Andy Reese Jr. You have, I mean, just a lot of these fighters. I mean, just the division is stacked. I mean, going even up to Joshua and Wilder again. Um, Then you had a Jogba and Sanchez go at it. and Ajagba pretty much showed what we knew about him already. Kind of a one-sided fighter, like a like a Wilder.
Yeah, one dimensional.
Yeah, one-dimensional, and he uh he was exposed. He was exposed, and Sanchez, the the Cuban Flash, man, he ain't no joke. I see him in the next 2 years, a force to be reckoned with in the division. I think like Alexander Usyk, he has that ring IQ, the ring IQ, the amateur experience, and just like I said, I could see him possibly holding up those belts in the near future.
Yeah, you could definitely throw him in the mix with all these heavyweights. There's at least a good 10 heavyweights that are in there. Hellenius, Jared Anderson, Sanchez, Wilder, Fury, Usyk, Dillian White. Otto Wallen
Otto
too.
Wallen,
Yeah, he's good, man. He's a good fighter. Even though he lost to Fury, he's still a good fighter. He gave Fury a tough fight.
he
So
cut Fury.
yeah, he cut Fury, and man, it's good to see that the heavyweight division. It's not like the '90s.
Oh
It's
hell
not like
no,
the Lewis and the
never gonna be like
Tyson.
the '80s. Never gonna be like none of that. But hey,
Yeah,
we
no,
got
but we'll take it. I'm happy with it. It was dead for a while. I would not dead. It just was dominated by a Klitschko.
it was weak in the Klitschko era. I guess you could, if you want to put it at that. Like Klitschko. I mean, I don't take nothing away from him because he was one of the greatest to put on the gloves. In the heavyweight division. But he did fight in a time where the heavyweight division was in a funk.
Yeah, it seemed like it was trying to find its identity. And with Klitschko
Again,
being so dominant, like, you couldn't really
nobody.
have too much of the belt being changed around to different fighters. It just stayed with one guy, and all these guys did fight each other to go up to fight Klitschko. But then once Klitschko fought these guys, there was nothing really. Are these guys going to fight a rematch? It wasn't like these fights were close against Klitschko. They were completely one-sided.
Yeah, for
Completely
sure.
one-sided.
Some of them ended before 5 rounds. I mean, same thing that had to do with like Wilder. I mean, going into this next fight, I mean Tyson Fury and Wilder put on a show. I mean, the show for probably we haven't seen a show like this in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very exciting. It was a show that none of us were expecting. This was said by many people as well. I mean, coming from different boxing forums and stuff like that. This fight was not expected. This was the fight that a lot of people did not even want to see. But hey, it turned out people like us were in for we caught a great show, man, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was just beautiful to see what boxing did for us that day. Tyson Fury KO in the 11th round. I mean, there was a total of 7 knockdowns, two from Wilder alone. In the fourth round, which we thought the fight would probably have ended. Some people are calling a long count, but some people don't know the rules of boxing.
Mhm.
And I mean, just like how do you see the performance? I mean, of Wilder and Tyson, man. How did you see it?
How I saw it, I mean, yes, it wasn't what everybody expected. So like a few things. Wilder definitely showed heart, and he showed it obviously in the second fight. Breland did throw in the towel, and he was just looking out for the health of his fighter.
Yes, he
And
was.
now, if this was, I think if Malik was actually thinking, and a lot of us were thinking, this fight could have been stopped a lot sooner than the 11th, because Wilder was, I don't know what, he was holding onto the ring.
She
Like
was
he was swinging shots. He was losing his balance.
hanging on a prayer, bro.
He
Literally.
definitely was. And now we said it too. I've said it to you. And I think if we would have got the Wilder, I mean, the Fury from the rematch, like this fight would have ended a lot sooner, because he was a lot more conditioned. So it could have been a couple things. It could have been the COVID. It could have been him trying to put on more weight to try to muscle up, or even try to bully
He
Wilder,
did.
which he did,
Yeah, he did a lot.
which he did a lot. And that's what Wilder did too, was he put on the muscle, which is like a big no-no, especially like if you're just gonna put on chest. And he already has no legs as it is. Like, this dude should have been squatting and doing deadlifts. but you can't take nothing away from what Wilder did. He showed heart.
Yeah.
He definitely
Uh,
was trying to go on. He was definitely trying to
went
go
out
out
went out
on
on
his
went out
shield.
on his shield. Yeah, for sure.
Right. He definitely was trying to do that. And as soon as like that second round started, like you could obviously give Wilder the first 2 rounds, but towards the end of the second round, as soon as Fury landed that right hand, it was like everything went out the window, and he went to what he's good at is to throw that that slow jab with the telegraphed right hand, and
Yep, and
he landed it. He did land it. I was worried. I was like, when I saw Fury go down that second time, he was taking deep breaths. And no, everybody, there was no long count. It's all been debunked. You can go back and check other YouTube pages, and they explain it. And so does Barack from the Zone. He
yeah,
actually posted on his Instagram the rules of the count. So
yes.
the ref, if he wanted to, could count to 5, stop at 5, look at the corner, make sure he's in his neutral corner, and he can continue from 5. It doesn't say in the rules that once you stop 5, someone else continues a count 6, 7, 8. No, it's all on the referee. And now, if the knockdown goes right away, he can get help from a corner man or from one of the judges, and he can continue a count from there. But it was not a long count.
No,
But
it was
all in all, it was definitely a good trilogy. It was a good fight. It was just a little sloppy for me. I mean,
exciting. It was
yeah,
exciting fight. I mean, Tyson Fury landed double the amount of punches. I mean, you can't really say it was sloppy on Tyson's part because he was landing a lot of jabs. He was landing a lot of body and a lot of power. Yes, it was not his greatest performance, being that I think he did not really take this seriously.
it's
Because
possible.
he, I mean, he even said it himself. I mean, that's the reason he wanted to put on so much weight. I mean, he even said it. I'm gonna let a 290-pound man beat you. Like, I mean, it kind of made sense now that
Yeah,
he said that. And I mean, this kind of puts in a lot of perspective in the heavyweight division. Uh, Joshua is looking for a new trainer here in the States. Like I said, he's looking at Virgil Hunter, Eddie Reynoso, and he's also looking at Ronnie Shields
yeah, Ronnie
too. I mean,
Shields.
that's the three, and he's is gonna switch trainers for this rematch.
Yeah,
Um,
as he
I
should.
mean, I mean, personally, I mean, we've talked about it too, off camera, off record, and that we both feel that Anthony Joshua should probably take step aside money so that we can actually see unification happen.
Yeah,
I understand he wants to be a part of that, but you're switching trainers just like Wilder did. But Wilder really should have did was take a fight before this fight happened, which he should have took the step aside money, and we could have watched the. I mean, who knows? We could have got a badass brawl out of Joshua Tyson too.
yeah,
But but I mean, now I mean, I would have set up to where it would have been Joshua versus Wilder and Usyk versus Tyson. I mean, winner of that fight, of course, winner loser of the Fury. I mean, of the Wilder Joshua fight would get the chance to fight the winner of Usyk and Fury. I mean, it only makes sense to the sport right now, considering how many how many heavyweight boxers there are now.
yeah. It's definitely it's it's like we said, it's not the 90s and 80s, but this is a new generation of
We'll
heavyweights,
take
and
it.
and we're excited for it. I think a lot of people are excited for the heavyweight, and and the way they promoted this, like the last quarter of the Wilder and Fury 3 was pretty good. They promoted it well. Again, nobody really wanted the fight. I could admit I was one that was not, too intrigued or too excited for the fight. But we got a good fight out of it. We originally wanted to see Fury, Joshua, but it just things happen that way.
Yeah, we got a fun one though. We
We
got a
definitely
fun
got a
one
fun
out of
one.
it.
Yeah, and I still think that even though both Wilder and Joshua lost, like this fight can still be made and it could still sell. And I do like to see that Wilder isn't thinking about retiring. I don't think he should retire. I think he should take a little time off and
Yes,
actually just work on it. Just work on his skills. He's got a pretty good trainer, Malik Scott. A lot of analysts were
I mean, it
impressed with
showed.
Muttley
It
Scott. Yeah,
showed. It showed, bro. I mean, like I said, the first few rounds, I mean, jabbing to the body, it's a different take from Wilder's arsenal. I mean, me personally, he should work on the jab more, and he should work on going to the body more. I think would really help him in the future.
yeah.
Not saying that he could beat these guys now, right now, like Tyson Fury or Usyk or even Joshua right now. Um, I mean, but I mean, you could put personally. I mean, if he wants to get his confidence up, I mean, put him up against a King Kong again, possibly. See what he could possibly do against, uh, what's his name? Um, my
Ruiz.
goodness, I just brain for yeah, there you go, Reese. Yeah,
Yeah,
Reese Jr.
I think that would be a good one
I mean, just to see
for
too where Reese is at too. I
yeah.
mean, right now, because we don't know where he's at after he just had a surgery as well. And but like I said, heavyweight division, man, it's flowing up just like the welterweight division is, just like the middleweight division is right now, the featherweight division. I mean, boxing is just coming up. I mean, speaking of the featherweight division, we had a great showing on Friday night of Emmanuel Navarrete facing Joet Gonzales. I mean, we got a war. We got a war that people want to see. Brawl. They brawled it out, and I mean, Navarrete came out being the dog that he is. I mean, me personally, like I said too. I mean, I had him lose in the beginning, the early rounds. I mean, Joet showed out, started quick, but like I said, I mean, Navarrete's different breed fighter. There are levels, like you say. There are levels to this game, and he does have that level. I mean, Navarrete's at that level right now where Joet couldn't step it up that notch.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, man.
There's not. He put
It,
on a
like
show too. It was
yeah,
another show.
like we said, um, Navarrete, that's just how good Navarrete is. And nothing to take away from Gonzalez. Like Gonzalez performed to the best of his ability, but he just came up short. Navarrete was the better fighter. I had Navarrete maybe losing out of the first 5 rounds. I think I probably had it, like 2-3. I still had Navarrete ahead, but it was a close competitive fight. I think one of the scores was like completely wrong, and I think Navarrete
Bad.
agreed.
It was
I think
bad.
Navarrete even agreed that it wasn't that wide of a margin, but he made the proper adjustments. He's just that good. He hits that hard. I think he's probably the hardest hitter at that division,
Yeah, I think
and
he's
he's the
a problem.
boogeyman.
He's a
Yeah, he's
problem in that division. I mean, like if you have Shakur Stevenson, I could see him against Shakur Stevenson or Oscar Valdez.
yeah in the future.
I mean, not even that's the near future. This is the near future. I could see it happening.
Yeah,
Personally, if I were him, I would. I mean, like we've talked about too. I mean, a bigger if you put him up against one of these names right now, he's gonna create fireworks.
yeah.
And I think he's gonna make it to where I mean, I understand Shakur is a quick fighter, but I know he knows how to cut off the ring very well. And Navarrete has power. He could take shots. It's just, will speed be a factor for him if he does fight Shakur?
Yeah.
And will combinations against Oscar Valdez in power? What are the different factors in that fight? I mean, if that were to happen, because I mean, Oscar Valdez and him, I think, are pretty evenly matched. If
And
I
now,
mean,
and now,
that's just my point of view. That's just my point of view. I think him and Oscar are pretty evenly matched up.
Navarrete and Gonzalez.
No,
I mean Navarrete
and
Valdez.
Oscar. Yeah, I mean it's close. I mean, like I said, it
I
just depends.
mean, we all thought with the Burchell that it was a dangerous fight, but I think we didn't expect Valdez to fight like that against Burchell. We thought, he would have made mistakes, possibly get knocked down. Even like some people
The greatest
had a
fight of his career.
yeah, it was the best performance, and we would have thought maybe he would have lost. Now this is a tough fight, man. I don't know.
It is. It's a great.
I would hate for this fight to be made because I'm a
Not
fan of
me.
both guys.
Not me.
I'm a fan of both
I would
guys.
enjoy it.
Of course, I would enjoy it as a fan, but I mean, as a boxing person, of course, that's the fight we'd want to see. But like, I'm a fan of both guys,
Yes, no,
and and,
agreed.
and Valdez being a hometown guy. So
Yeah, I mean, I love Oscar. I mean, I see Oscar winning the fight against them. I mean, if they were to throw down,
mhm.
I do see them, but they are evenly. I think they're well. Like on paper, they're evenly matched up. I mean, if you just put it all together, they're pretty much same style. It's just like I said, Oscar probably just has more of the discipline side of it. More of a disciplinary side, being that he's with the Reynoso camp. And I think being with Reynoso has helped him out a lot. I mean, I know a lot of people are controversial about what happened at
Yeah,
the fights here, but hey, shit happens.
it
Shit
does.
happens. I mean, I mean, but like I said, I mean, going into the Saturday fight now, I mean, the beginning we had Liam Smith and Anthony Fowler go at
Anthony
it, man.
Fowler, yeah,
I mean,
good competitive fight.
yes, and competitive fight until about the fifth round, I mean the eighth round when the left hook put Fowler on the ground for good and good stoppage by the referee too.
Yeah,
Good win by Liam Smith. I mean, comeback, good comeback fight for him. I believe this he earned himself a bigger fight, bigger payday as well on his next go around. There's a lot of people in that division still too. The 154, 160, he's still in that division. So just big ups to Liam Smith, man. He's back.
yeah, it was good to see that. Definitely good to see him get back into the winning column against a good competitor, Fowler. And it was competitive a little early, but Smith being better skilled, and he had more power than Fowler, and he was able to put Fowler away about mid fight. I think it was maybe sixth round where he actually got the stoppage.
Yeah.
Um, and in that division, from 168 to 175, it there's guys he could fight there, but I know a lot of these guys want to try to get back at Canelo, but Canelo got what he wanted from them. He got those belts. He's going to unify, and I don't think we would even see his brother in the future fighting Canelo
Yeah,
unless unless
175. 175, yeah.
unless he had a belt and unless he has something that Canelo wants, because that's obviously the picture we see with Canelo right as of late is if he has something he wants, he's gonna come after it, no matter where you are or what fans think of your opponent. Like you have a belt, you obviously got a belt for a reason, so he's gonna collect these belts. So
Yeah.
unless Smith has a belt that he can collect, maybe a rematch, but I don't think they'll cross paths again with neither one of the Smith brothers.
I
But
agree.
nothing to take anything away from Callum Smith, but he, once Canelo, unifies against Plant, there's going to be opportunities there. There'll be some vacated bouts. I think Canelo will probably finish his career at 175, maybe even come down with a 168 again. But while Canelo is running 168, you know,
It's
it's going to be a
nothing.
lot. Yeah, it's going to be
And
a
and
lot.
175 pretty sure by next year.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
I'm calling it already. He's going to unify two different divisions in 2 years. And never before seen, and it's going to be a Mexican fighter that does it.
that'd be dope to
Very
see.
exciting, very exciting. I mean, no, I mean, we're not one-siding to, like Mexican, black fighters, nothing like that. But I'm just saying, just it's an exciting thing, for the Mexican culture to see a fighter like that accomplish something of this caliber. I mean, going for undisputed too.
Mhm.
But off topic, I mean, that's just off topic. But then pretty much what concluded Saturday night was, there was a big time upset, Saturday night. But before we get to that upset, I mean, let's just talk a little bit about the undercards that happened on Saturday as well.
Yeah, who give
Uh,
us the winners?
yep. So, I mean, so we have a Australian and pretty much up and comer, 23-year-old Brock Jarvis, who had a complete scare against Alejandro Frias. We still got the TKO victory,
Yeah,
but Frias came out swinging on this boy in the beginning rounds, which scared the living shit out of
Jarvis.
people like myself, Jarvis, and I'm pretty sure top rank too. Yeah, top rank too. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's just all coming along. I mean, and he ended up winning. Jesse Bam Rodriguez, another name to keep in mind here. Another feature of the sport, 14-0, 10 KOs. He TKO'd Alejandro Burgos in the fourth round of their fight. Another one, like I said, to just keep an eye on, man. That's a name you want to keep an eye on. Uh, Big upset, Jonathan Gonzales, and over split decision win over Alvin Soto. Alvin Soto being the big time name. Jonathan Gonzales, man, made his name back. I mean, after he had he's had three losses, and but coming back and winning the title again for him is pretty big, for his career moving forward.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was, like you said, he's also back in the winning column.
Yes,
Possible rematch, correct? Is that what we're hearing?
yes.
Possible
So yeah,
rematch. It was a
yep,
good
that's
close
good.
fight.
Yeah,
So
rematch, and then of course you had Fresno's own Mark Castro, man. Another future product right here. 4-0, 4 KOs. Got to show out against his hometown crowd. And Fresno against Angel Luna, a guy that probably shouldn't have been in the ring with him, but
yeah,
was. I mean, but it's a win. Like I said, it's a win on his part. I'm a big fan of Mark Castro.
yeah, he was completely just overmatched. Regardless of Angel Luna, how he performed, how he looked, you know, from that, you saw Castro like he passed. Like I like to say when I see a young guy fighting, like I'm like, okay, he passed the eye test, meaning like you seen him do the right things. Yeah, he's a little bit awkward, but he throws straight shots that you don't see, and he's really accurate. You mentioned that he's accurate,
Yep,
and that's what you want to see. And
yep.
hey,
Awkward
man,
fighter, but accurate as hell.
yeah, definitely. There's a future for him. He's
Yes,
not.
there is.
I don't think he will be like. I don't think he'll have like a blown up career. Or I mean, not blown up career, but like his record won't be like padded. Like you'll see him
Until he
against
fights.
guys.
Yeah.
You'll see him fight some guys that obviously will test him, but definitely won't be a padded record. I believe with Castro.
No, not at all. I mean, he's ready for. I think give him another year. Of some active fights. I see him 2023 possibly starting to fight some bigger names.
Yeah, man, and it's a good thing. Also he was fighting on Canelo undercard. So
Yes, he
if
has. He has.
you're and main prime time. So he was actually on video. He was actually caught some prime time on those undercards, and he was the co-main event in this card. So that
Yeah, he
right
was.
there, to put it in perspective, like he's moving along the way you want a young fighter, and he doesn't. I don't think he has 10 fights yet, right? He's like four
No,
fights,
four. Yeah,
like
four
six
fights
fights.
in. 4-0. 4-0.
Yeah,
Four
that's
KOs.
that's saying a lot.
This says a lot about you, the character, and what Top Rank thinks about you and the
Yeah,
zone. But just the biggest upset probably in boxing history happened. Sendor Martin probably pulled off the most major upset in Fresno, man, and Mikey Garcia was the product of that upset. Upsetting on his end, me being a fan, very upsetting. Sandro Martin showed out, kept his game plan, stuck to it, and prevailed.
yeah, for sure. It definitely was an upset. I wouldn't say the biggest upset in boxing.
Well, one of
Um,
the biggest upsets for him because we didn't
yeah,
know who Sandor Martin is. We
yeah,
know who Mikey Garcia is.
nobody knew who Martin was. Nobody gave him a chance. If you betted on Martin, I wish I would have looked up the odds on that. I'm sure it
Yeah,
would have you would have came away with some money, but it
yeah,
was very
really.
disappointing to see because I feel like Garcia is better than that, man. I don't think his mind was in this fight. I think he just did what a lot of people call a fat camp, meaning he just made he went to
Made a
training
catch
camp.
weight. Made a catch weight 145
Yeah,
instead of 140.
he went to camp to just to lose weight, and he didn't even make the 140. Like I think maybe like 2 weeks out, like they ended up making a catch weight at 145. So that just tells you the mindset. And it
Man,
was a good thing he didn't get in there with Regis, man.
Regis, nope. We would have got
Yeah,
killed, bro.
Regis would have done a lot more. He would have got him out of there. It would have been a massacre, bro. It would have been a
Yeah,
massacre
would have.
because we didn't see anything special of what Garcia did. He jabbed. He didn't cut the ring off. I mean, yeah, the jab was there, but that was pretty much it. He didn't make no adjustments. Martin made all the right adjustments. He came away with a close, competitive fight, but
Mikey
Garcia got
Garcia was
dominated.
very was not pulling the trigger. Like I said, very upsetting performance on Mikey Garcia's behalf. Like I said, not the Mikey Garcia we're used to seeing, but I guess
No.
they say once you fight Spence, you ain't the same.
So,
I'm just just saying that. I mean, just it kind of looked like it, and he was gun shy in that fight too.
yeah,
So
it's
it's just,
tough.
I mean, boxing, man. I mean, it was a fun week and 2 weeks of boxing, man, and we just have more coming up. We have a live event coming up at Buddy Bernie's house for the Canelo fight, November 6th, people. So stay in touch with that one. We now have an IG, George Off the Ropes,
Yeah,
Boxing MMA on IG.
yeah. So off the ropes on IG, off the ropes boxing MMA podcast, and then on YouTube, off the ropes boxing MMA podcast. We'll definitely put the link when we post this video on Facebook and Instagram. We'll put the link in there, like, subscribe, because obviously we get likes and subscribe. We could keep putting out this content for you guys, and we're learning this, man. I think when anybody that comes out with zero experience and just kind of learning from YouTube, trial and error, we'll get it, man. I think it's starting to smooth itself out.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the boxing world,
Everybody,
we're here to stay. Tucson, we're here to take you with us. I
yes,
mean,
and
this is episode numero dos of Off the Ropes, Figure Boxing MMA podcast, man.
yeah, hey, you know, thanks for coming along this ride with us. Stay tuned. We got some MMA stuff coming up too. So, and then also you can hear us on anywhere that podcast is available. We're on all platforms,
Yep,
all of them.
everywhere. So you name it, I mean, from Apple to Google Podcasts to Spotify, we're there.
Yes,
So
sir.
people, like I said, man, much love from us. I mean, from Off the Ropes Boxing MMA podcast, man. I'm Julian.
This is George.
Hey, man, we'll see y'all, man. We love y'all. Love your families. Love your mama. Love your daddy.
You get one.
Appreciate
Peace.
y'all. Have a good one.